Ahead of the release of Jurassic World Rebirth, which I must say is just dinosaur box office slop.
I love it.
Scarlett Johansson says that she is being pressured to promote the movie on social media and join Instagram at long last. She refuses to do so. She might actually believe that she is above creating an Instagram account because she is one of the last true movie stars who doesn't need social media followers to justify her fame and relevance in the industry.
I mean, it's for the most part true. The studios are basically, at least at the movie level. I don't know about at the television show level, but at the movie level, the studios, they're not even sniffing you if you don't have 1 million followers on Instagram.
Yeah, this was her recent comment in an interview with InStyle. Even today, I got an email from Universal, and they're like, hey, would you consider joining Instagram in tandem with the release of Jurassic World Rebirth? And she refuses.
Does that feel like, okay, Scarlett Johansson is a quantifiable box office celebrity. Mm-hmm. Big name. I feel like that merits a phone call. There's got to be a reason why she doesn't have one. So it's obviously by choice for her to make it this far in her career without one. I feel like you get one of the bigger named studio execs to call her and try to get her to do that, not just throw it in an email.
Well, you would also need to include that in her contract when she signed on to do this movie.
And
that's part of promotion at this point. That's like almost a given that part of promotion is not just doing interviews and doing press, but posting things on social media.
And I think she said, thank you.
Thank you for the first party.
If I remember correctly,
you were saying?
Party. If I remember correctly, she said that she had her agent looking for Jurassic Park roles at one point, that she really wanted to do one of these movies. Then they should have put it in the contract beforehand. They're like, look, you want to hunt dinosaurs, you're going to have an Instagram.
Right, but I guess that this is probably a contract item for the younger generation that are coming up in Hollywood, not her. She's 40, so I just don't think that this appeals to her, like having a social media presence. And for the people who have joined in on it, who are millennials or older, it hasn't gone so well. It's led to nothing but heartache and PR blunders.
She doesn't need the brand deals.
Indiscretion and people broadcasting their lowest moments and saying offensive jokes that get dug up years later.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's not something that she really ought to mess with.
I like the idea that she's like, she doesn't trust herself. She's like, I will get drunk and say something crazy. Yeah. And everybody will hate me.
Having a Twitter is like constantly risking drunk texting the whole world.
Loaded gun.
Yes, exactly. And plenty of people have done that. So she's smart to make that decision. But it reminded me of comments that we heard from Maya Hawke earlier in February.
Yeah, we were going to cover this and we just never did.
We just never got around to it.
Oddly enough, because she's not as big of a star as Scarlett Johansson.
Well, she's a Nepo star. Maya Hawke says that producers are now choosing cast members based on a collective amount of Instagram followers they have. And she's railing against this new normal in Hollywood.
Think of every one of those Instagram followers as a built-in, like, advertising, like, demo.
If you're to believe that they are all real people and not bots.
I mean, even if
they actually engage with the content.
Imagine they say half of them. Okay, 500,000.
The conversion rates are there.
Yeah. So let's listen to this clip here.
Sucks. Right, but just so you know, if you have over this many followers, you can get the movie funded. Well, I want to make the movie, so it's a really confusing line to walk. And I've talked to so many smart directors who tell me that they get I'm talking to them about how I'm going to delete my Instagram, and they're like, just so you know, when I'm casting a movie with some producers, they hand me a sheet with the amount of collective followers I have to get of the cast that I cast. So if you delete your Instagram and I lose those followers, understand that these are the kinds of people that I need to cast around you. So and so there's so
it's like, go ahead, delete it, but then I have to put Logan Paul in this movie with you so that we hit our social media quota.
It's confusing. And I find I'm thinking out loud with you right now. I think this will be a lifelong question for me.
Okay.
So it's not just needing a certain amount of followers to get cast in a movie. It's also on the end of directors and producers, which Maya Hawke is aspiring to be, where you cannot get your movie funded by a big studio unless you can add up these collective followers among the cast.
It reminded me a little bit of this thing from Christina Ricci the other day where she says, I want people who Hollywood to be run by people who love film and TV, not corporations. And all I can think about when I say that is like, have you looked at the budgets of some of these movies? Like they can't, like, this isn't your passion project. This isn't your $200 million, $100 million. Look, every episode, like The Acolyte cost $180 million to make a slop television show that nobody watched. It would have been a lot more likable for Disney, or a lot easier for Disney to eat that cost if they spent a quarter of that amount on that show. But when you start making movies and television shows that cost in the hundreds of millions of dollars, you're not going to have anything run by people that love stuff. It's going to be run by people that love money. And a lot of times the people that love money have the wrong ideas because they don't know what sells or what works, but they're the ones with the money, so they get to make the call. If you want to be the ones who make the movies, you're going to have to be the business savvy producer. It's why a lot of actors are now trying to get into producing earlier than they used to, because they want to have a say in how things are made. That's the best thing you can do, but you cannot blame the studios for hedging their bets and making slop when nobody goes and watches the avant-garde. Like I said, they released Anora won Best Picture 5 gazillion Oscars and made all of $1 million last weekend at the box office. Nobody cares about the stuff that the art house people make.
I would like to point out, though, on the other hand, that a lot of the big blockbuster slop movies are not making their money back either.
No,
they
but
just cost more and make more at the same time.
And on paper, there's more, like, and it's not even about making a specific type of movie. It's about movies tied to intellectual property. Mm-hmm. So it's like, yes, we're going to make Jurassic Park, and maybe it makes a lot of money, maybe it doesn't, but we're going to be able to make toys. We're going to be able to make merch.
That's true.
We're going to be able to make all of these other realms of production. It was like, is anybody making Anora merch? Where is that? Is that at the local sex shop?
I was thinking about this in relation to Anora.
Is there a lingerie line?
So Anora grossed a total of $46.9 million worldwide. Domestically, that was $18.3 million.
Okay.
And then let me look up the budget. I'm sure it was able to make its money back if it made 46.9. Yeah, the budget of Nora was $6 million. Yeah. So it definitely made its money back and was profitable.
Smaller budgets.
Because they absolutely swept at the Oscars, it's not just the accolades for the accolades' sake. I think that financiers in Hollywood check on how things perform in award season to see what kind of thing they want to finance in the future.
And there are genres like horror movies that usually make good money on smaller budgets. But when they make these smaller budget movies, look, there's just no guarantee that it's going to make its money back. But then you have examples like Mickey 17, which cost like $118 million to make. Should have never cost that much. It's losing. What do you do? But the movies that, like, I'm going to go see Black Bag on Tuesday. I don't know what the budget was on it, but it's got Michael Fassbender on it. I'm guessing it was a Steven Soderbergh film. I'm guessing it wasn't cheap to make. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it cost some money, but do I expect a movie like that to make its money back at the box office? Not really.
Well, Ethan Hawke, Maya Hawke's father, who, by the way, feels super duper comfortable watching her do sex scenes, added on his own thoughts to this subject. He said that it is crazy to cast actors based on Instagram followers. Sometimes I'll be setting a movie up and someone will say, "Oh, you should cast Susie." And I'm like, "Who is she?" And they say, "She has 10 million followers." I'm like, "Okay, cool. Has she acted before?" "No, but," and you're like, wow, so this is going to help me get the movie made? This is crazy.
Yeah.
So if I don't have this public facing platform, I don't have a career. And if I get more followers, I might get that part. So many young actors that think being an actor is protein shakes and going to the gym. Go to the gym if you want to, but that doesn't make you Robert De Niro is not great because he has a six-pack. If the part calls for it, he'll do it, and that's awesome, but he's so much more than that. So it's not just the Instagram following aspect, but the image you project on social media as well has to do with the type of roles you're considered for.
He was part of a completely different generation of Hollywood. Like, the joke is always like, you look at Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd, that's what a movie star looked like in the 80s. They weren't expected to look like Greek gods. It should have stayed
that way. It should have stayed that way. I would much rather have someone like a Bill Murray being the movie star of a generation than Chris Hemsworth.
But the thing is, though, the genres that became successful changed, therefore the body type changed.
And that sucks, because I don't like that genre.
Black Bag has a budget of $50 million and is expected to open to $10 to $15 million domestically at the high end. I don't know how much they spent on marketing like that, but that specific budget movie just isn't profitable anymore, because when they made the $50 million movies back in the day, it wasn't expected to make its money back at the box office. It was expected to do okay at the box office and then go to DVD sales and pay VOD like on demand on cable. And that's where those movies really made their money anymore. There isn't a market for that anymore. The market for that now is it goes straight to streaming. It might spend some time at pay VOD, but people are like, I'm not going to spend money on a generic movie called Black Bag if I don't know anything about it. And they're going to wait and maybe they'll watch it on streaming. Streaming cannibalized that way for them to make money. So now for the studios to greenlight those types of projects, they have to get big actors involved, which inflates the price. Mm-hmm. They can't do it with lesser known actors anymore.
What about The Brutalist?
I don't care.
That was another Oscar bait movie. I don't remember the budget or if it even made its money back.
I'm sure Adrian Brody doesn't come cheap, right?
No.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I think Scarlett Johansson is proof that there are only a couple of real movie stars left.
That's not going to be the case for very long.
No. After a while, they are all going to be protein shake drinking.
Because I just look at Madeline Klein and I'm like, you're like Instagram as a person.
Yes.
Like, you are Instagram personified, and I don't really think that's good for art.
Well, and I said to this, I said, when I saw the trailer for this movie, there's like one shot of her in her aviator glasses at a table, and she has more charisma in her left pinky than most actresses have in their whole bodies. Just like Angelina Jolie in Eternals. That whole movie was slop garbage, looked like dirt, had nothing interesting going. But Angelina Jolie, in any scene she was in, brought more screen presence to this unbelievably forgettable movie and role than any of the other actors could, trying their hardest. Like, Richard Madden is considered like a pretty big actor these days, and he is dwarfed by the charisma of the likes of Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, that generation is passing away.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.